So yesterday we talked a little bit about buffaloes, and they were very, very useful to a lot of people who used to live here. They used every part of them somehow or another. Not every part of every buffalo that they harvested. That is a myth. But there was a potential to use any part of a buffalo for something or another. I think they would boil down their noses for glue if they had to, or I was trying to think, what do you do with their gallbladder? But you might do something with it. They would burn their poo for firewood, and they would use all kinds of things. I don't know about stomach contents. I don't know what they would do with the stomach contents, but they may have had a use for the stomach contents. I don't know. But as far as what they represented the means of the way of life. They were the means of the way of life. And a lot of people around here talk about our way of life. So what are the means of their way of life? That would be their buffalo. Now, some people have said that if the beaver balance is going to be taken out on the buffaloes of the white way of life, right? The buffaloes of the white way of life, until it's balanced. The amount of, I have 24 caskets over there, so we're going to have 12 men and 12 women. And others can arrange as their entourage that will be able to fulfill their 7 generations of honorable descendants. If they match the number of beavers that their descendants harvested against the buffaloes of the white way of life. But what are the buffaloes of the white way of life? I'm reading the news and I'm seeing, a landslide in Sudan and a earthquake in Afghanistan right after I said this. Is that part of what I'm talking about? Was the shooting in at Annunciation part of this? We don't know. That's one of the things. One of the things I was thinking about this morning was that when the women in the tribes gave an F about what was going to happen, they would go out and give Fs until they didn't have any Fs to give. And sometimes they would be told to stop giving Fs. This was not the same thing as the way of the West. But as long as there were Fs to give, there was less war to wage. Some tribes didn't believe in giving Fs. They were very warlike. Others were not warlike at all, and they were known for their Fs. But most were in the middle somewhere. Sometimes they gave an F, sometimes they shot you in the head. But if the women ran out of Fs to give and the men didn't have any gumption, then the women would curse. And sometimes the men, they were using all their gumption everywhere else, and the women were still out there. So this is something that you need to think about when you're trying to claim these energies, when you're trying to grab these live wires and hook them up to whatever whirligigs you got going on. Wondering why things are frying. And that there's a lot of power around here, and it does different things. But one of the things that you got to understand is that they had to limit the madness. And one of the ways that they limited the madness was that those 24 over there, the 12 men gave a flesh offering of a particular kind. And the women had positive relationships with men with flesh offerings. They were their daughters, they were their wives, they were mothers of men who gave flesh offerings. And there's only one thing that they'll accept. Now, it is possible to do this procedure to a dog. It is possible that a dog might have a reason to do this procedure. If that is the case, then there is no way for them to become a man. But the only way for them to become a man is to give this flesh offering. Now, if they haven't given this flesh offering, you're not dealing with a man. And if they aren't in a relationship with somebody who's given this flesh offering, then they have no protection. And one of the things that I just had the thought about liberty and the demon Belial. That they just throw all these libertines at people, saying that, defending, this is one of the ways you go into war. Why men who have given flesh offerings would fight amongst themselves is that some of them want to protect more people than they can vouch for. But they try to vouch for them anyway.